Now, Jonathan, I know, has sent a lot of you here tonight, and if you're one of his health secret people, you're especially welcome. Wonderful to have you with us. And Jono was a huge help to me in the early days of making documentaries because he'd been at it for a couple of years and was very open to giving advice and helping us figure out how to do it. So I actually have brought him on board, and I did an interview with him just yesterday, which I would love to play for you now. And fingers crossed, I hope this plays. It was a little difficult. I was here in Belfast. Jono was in Puerto Rico when we did this. And the video is just a little choppy in places, but I think you'll get the gist of it completely. So let me just click over and play this for you right now. So this was talking to Jonathan yesterday. Right, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm joined by a good friend of mine, fellow filmmaker and a very prolific filmmaker as well, Health Secret Series, Jonathan Otto. Jono, good to see you.
Great to see you too, Trevor.
So folks, I'm here in Ireland. Jono is way down there in Puerto Rico, so we couldn't be much further apart. So if we have any issues with connection, you have to forgive us. Jono, I know you and I were talking a few weeks ago, and I was explaining to you about, you know, the last series we were doing. All these people started mentioning hydrogen and hydrogen water, and sort of it was a bit of a curveball for me because I hadn't really heard much about this. You know, we've all heard about, you know, supplements come and supplements go, as it were. Like turmeric has risen from the depths in the last couple of years to be a huge supplement. But hydrogen, something, John, I'd never heard much about, but apparently the big thing with it is autoimmune disease. It's got a huge effect on autoimmune issues.
Yes, absolutely. I think that you've hit the nail on the head. For me, that was one of the most impressive things about it. 800 plus studies done, and then 150 different diseases. You know, we don't really have many things that we access to that kind of information on one single thing. Hydrogen water has 150 different diseases that have been clinically tested, you know, and then we have visibly seen the results that it does in fact have a dramatic effect in treating and helping to reverse the symptoms and the root cause of the disease. So it's just such an amazing tool. The water that we drink is important, and that becomes more and more clear when we understand the benefits and the blessing and the gift of hydrogen water.
Yeah, absolutely. And can you explain to people, Jonathan, how can one substance have such an effect on so many different autoimmune diseases? You know, people talk about all these different, you know, you've Parkinson's and you've IBS and you've so on and so on. How are all these autoimmune diseases, and I know it's a big question, but how are they all related, Jonathan? How come autoimmune is such a huge issue nowadays?
Absolutely. We have an epidemic in this world today, and in Western countries. In the US, we have estimated 80 million people living with diagnosed autoimmune conditions, and that is close to a quarter of the population. We have the issue with you know, this industry really roping in 100 billion every year. We hear about cancer, that's around 63 billion a year. It's coming in from cancer. Autoimmunity is still taking a bigger portion, which should be surprising for people. $100 billion you're going to treating the symptoms, really. Unfortunately, not the actual root cause of autoimmunity. What's causing this huge epidemic today? You have a look at the issue with the toxins that we're being exposed to, and it's just alarming. We see that genetically modified organisms, genetically modified food through GMO corn, soy, even wheat, we see the body's reaction to these types of things, but we also see other types of airborne chemicals that most people don't even think about. It can be the products that we're exposed to, the pollutants in our atmosphere. Living in 2019 happens to come with some downsides, lots of convenience and lots of challenges. People need to know the truth about what's going on here. So we're seeing alarming rates of autoimmunity, and the good news is of all the different exposures, from the things that we're eating, the things that are injected into us, the things that we're being exposed to in the air, and the continuing list of whether it's mold, candida, Lyme bacteria, and even parasitic infection. We see like these major causes. When we can get to the cellular level and we can start to reverse the problem through some of the most, the foods and liquids that we're consuming the most, hydrogen water being an amazing example of a tool that we can use that is disease fighting in and of itself, so that when you drink a glass of water, you're not just drinking something to hydrate you, you're drinking something to come in and help fight the root cause of that problem, to combat the toxicity, to combat inflammation, to increase the antioxidant support in the bodies, to oxidize the body in a profound and powerful way, to be neuroprotective, to protect the organs, to lower cholesterol and blood sugar, and to improve a wide variety of various diseases, autoimmune and even outside of autoimmunity. And the fact is that this is not toxic, and it has, and it doesn't matter how high the concentration is, it's still not toxic. So it's good news, Trevor.
And that is one of the things that really interested me, was that our bodies are actually meant to make 7 liters of hydrogen every day, but it's because of autoimmune disease in our gut that our bodies can't do that. So this is a great way to get that replaced, as it were, you know?
Yeah, no, that's a fantastic point. If we were living in that perfect world, we wouldn't need a few things today, right? But that you know, go back to the Garden of Eden for those that you know, remember that picture, or just, you know, a more ancient civilization where things maybe were a little bit simpler. But thankfully, we do have tools. Like a modern era comes with more information, and so we do have actually more tools available to us today, but it just requires being proactive and being informed, and then taking action and getting these tools into our homes and using them and getting the results.
And another thing, Jono, that hydrogen is known to do is it's an anti-inflammatory agent. And I know you did a series on depression, and I suffered from depression for many years, which is how I actually come into the health field. Sorry, your whole series on depression really touched so many things that that cause inflammation. And you're talking there earlier about all these things that we are ingesting in our bodies nowadays that do inflame us.
You got it. So the gut, the brain, the gut-brain connection, and we even see with hydrogen water, with a study done in mice, hydrogen water restored the natural growth of brain cells. How amazing is that? So you have a look at people that are battling depression. So hydrogen water in mice studies was shown that it restored the natural growth of brain cells, and it also, you know, since also you can see with people who are battling depression or taking antidepressants, you can see that hydrogen, you can since people are combating depression, they may be taking antidepressants or otherwise, but hydrogen water has the potential for improving depression and other mood disorders, and many people have reported this, and you know, I've seen case studies of this, and so that's why I strongly encourage people to look at how they can decrease inflammation through the water that they're drinking, and then you're forever changing that water source. You don't have to remember to take this supplement. You don't have to remember to go and buy this food from the grocery store. If you have a hydrogen water system in your home, all you have to do is, you know, press the button, fill your glass up. You had to drink the water anyway. Now it happens to be disease-fighting water, and that's what you want.
Yeah, exactly. And I was just saying, obviously, that the effect that it has on brain cells that you're saying, that's also a huge thing for dementia and for protection against dementia. You
got it. We have the reality that hydrogen water is helping people with neurodegenerative challenges, dementia being one of them, and that is really exciting because, I mean, it has been basically you know, dementia being a death sentence. It's killing 1 in 3 seniors today. So it's no joke. If you make it past the age 85, your chances of dying of dementia is 1 in 2. And you go to a place like Australia, my country of origin, and you'll see that it's the number 2 cause of death in seniors across the board. So, you know, something needs to be done about this. And these weren't always diseases that were we didn't see them at these epidemic proportions in the past. This is very, very fresh. And so we need, and then we look at the destruction of the body, our guts' inability to produce hydrogen, the fact that Parkinson's, dementia, Alzheimer's have all been shown to be autoimmune in nature. And so then when you start to understand, well, the gut has issues. We're not producing the right neurotransmitters. The blood pressure to the brain is dropped because of gut issues. And then one of those challenges being the lack of hydrogen that's being produced in the body. So therefore we experience these overloads. So, one of the first things that was shown was that the molecular hydrogen, H2, could protect cells from damage by reducing toxic reactive oxygen species. Inhaled hydrogen also easily reached the blood. Inhaled hydrogen also easily reached the brain to reduce injury in rats with strokes. Now, in the first pilot study of 38 stroke patients, a hydrogen solution, IV, was safe and had a mild antioxidant effect. And another small study of 17 patients with Parkinson's disease, those who drank hydrogen water had improved symptoms. Those who drank regular placebo water, however, experienced a worsening. So it actually, was done properly with the placebo, but if you took the placebo, you were more likely to actually have problems. And even though you would think that under a placebo, just the placebo is going to make you better, it's just a placebo, but in fact, that shows you that hydrogen water was helpful. It was helping the people with Parkinson's. There were also no adverse effects to drinking 1 liter of hydrogen, which is about 1/4 of a gallon of water daily for almost 1 year. And you scale up that 2 liters or more, you'll find that again in high concentrations, it does not have adverse effects, and it's helping people every day, and that's why it's been studied across 150 different disease groups. What an amazing tool that we have today, hydrogen water, right?
Listen, John, thanks for your time tonight. I really appreciate you joining us, and I know there's many hundreds of people on this webinar tonight that have come because of your influence in your series, and you have done a fantastic work. I mean, I'm in one of your autoimmune Facebook groups, and the stories in there of people getting, really dealing with their issues and getting off their medications is amazing. So you deserve a huge pat in the back from many thousands of people. You're much appreciated.
Thank you, Trevor. I'm so thrilled to hear that. I didn't know that you were in the group, and so thank you for being so interested in people's success and checking out what we were doing your due diligence on me, because I know that you've promoted my work in the past, but we need to kind of look over each other's shoulders to make sure that the work that we're doing is of benefit. People are getting transformation because people do trust what we're saying. And we need to give people the right solutions. Otherwise, we kind of, how do you sleep at night when so many people get lied to by big pharma and mainstream media, and they can't get the truth from their local doctor? Then we've got to be true to our calling, true to our faith. And I appreciate that about you, and I really trust in the work that you do, in the information that you share. I trust in the content that you've been producing and putting out into the world for years now, several years, and I've seen amazing transformations from people implementing what you've been teaching, and then the work that you're doing now in educating people on hydrogen water, I think is one of the most profound things that you've done, and I'm seeing the greatest results through this, and I'm privileged to be able to kind of see it unfold and watch people change their lives using this tool that is truly a game changer and a lifesaver for so many people.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I really do. Listen, John, I've got to fire on with people here, but good to see you, and we'll talk soon.